Getting everybody in here. All right. We're doing good. We're doing good. Okay. Hey, everyone. Coach Trev, the accountability coach, getting everybody in here. Bear with me as I send this out to some people that need that reminder. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Don't worry, I'm going to get started. As you know, I do my pre production. I do my production work in that first few minutes. This gives people time to come in, to put things aside and say, you know what? I know that, this conversation is important. However, Coach Trev has a topic that is stopping me right here, right now. I need to cut this off, but we can reschedule. And I understand and I appreciate it because of what I'm about to share with you all. It is vital, it is important, all those things here. These are the things that are going to help you to really turn that corner, to move forward in a place. All right. So let me get here, let me get the space. All right. And so be sure you comment be sure you leave some comments there. Let me make sure. Also, let me make sure that I am charged up, that everything is going well. So I'm going to put this here. Okay. All right. I think I'm good. I am good. So trying something new. Got a couple things going. So this should be all excellent. This should be excellent. Wonderful. Hold on for a moment. One more thing I've got to do. And as I said, put some comments in. Let me know where you're coming in from. How's your Friday going? All right. That's important. Let me know how that is going for you. Boom. And yep. All right. All right. So I'm checking the comments now. Everyone is still in there Friday. All right. It's okay. Don't worry. Comments. You could send it to me privately if you want, if that's going to be helpful for you. Good. Busy. Looking for the week. Looking forward to the weekend. That's a good thing. All right. Good. We are good. All right. So I want to thank you all. I want to appreciate you all for coming. Let me make sure that certain things are off. Yep. Okay. That's good. So I got a good topic for you all today. And as a reminder, if you have not already done so, be sure that you get your copy of The Doorways of Life Volume 2. That's right. Volume 2 is out. It is here. It is in the building. It is in place. So that is a great thing. So thank you all for those that have supported. You forwarded out the message, all those things. So I am grateful for that. I am so grateful. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's a key thing. Hey, Ms. B, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Minty, for joining. I appreciate that. Be sure you come in, share out the live. That would be great. Share it out. Um, like it, tap it, all those things. Comments as well. Those are the things that also help. A hi, hello. Those things help in order to get it out there to those who may be needing to hear this topic immediately. So definitely get out there. Hope that you all stay. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's pull this up and get this going. We not sure if we'll be on here for the full hour, but as someone here, we're not may not be here for a long time, but we're here for a learning time. All right. So time for that transformation, all those good things. Okay, let me grab my notes and so that I can completely be with you all. And as I said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the comments. If I can respond to them, if they don't take me off track too much, all good. If they do, if and then I can get back to you on a private message and along those lines. Also, if you have not, um, if you'd like to do a solo session with me, a one-on-one, then feel free to message me and I will let you know how you can schedule that. All right. There's no charge, no anything for that. That is completely free. So just message me and we can get connected. All right. So we're going. We're good. Okay. All right. Looks like everything is good. Let me just pull up one more thing. Yes, there's a lot of movement that goes on in getting this prepared. So it's a Friday. Things happen, but it's not. It's just part of the process. So we're grateful and thankful. Yes, let gratitude be your guide for today. By the way, if you're not following my page, just be sure you do so. I post at least twice a day. I'm also posting some goals that I have that'll get you really started. Goals that I have personally. So I'm doing a little bit of public accountability. Me as an accountability coach, I feel that that's important thing so that you see that it's not something that I just have for my clients or for those in my mastermind, that I'm also doing myself. So I'm not just talking the walk, I'm walking the walk. Okay. So let's go ahead and get that. Hey, Minty, thank you so much. Appreciate you joining. So our topic today is titled "Stop Negotiating with Yourself." And so, 8 areas in your life where you're quietly taking yourself out of success. And so, if you missed my live yesterday, it was really good. I enjoyed talking about that. We talked about the eight. We talked about 8 areas in your life that are talking to you. And so, yes, 8 is one of my favorite numbers, and so we'll be sticking on that. We'll put in a lot of work, but definitely want to get out here. So let's jump in. And as I said, any questions, put it right in the comments. Anything that you'd like, so on a one-on-one, just hit me with a private message, and we can connect. Okay. So let's go. So one of the things I realized as I was putting this together is that most of us would never negotiate with our boss the way we negotiate with ourselves. We don't negotiate with, we're in that environment, not negotiating with them. So that's one of the things that you want to consider. That if you told your boss, if your boss said be here at 8 o'clock, you wouldn't show up at 8:45 and say, you know what, I just wasn't feeling it today. Or if you had a meeting with somebody, if you're an entrepreneur and you had a meeting with somebody that's one of your clients. They said, "Hey, let's meet at 5 p.m." You wouldn't show up at 5:45 and said, "You know what? Just wasn't feeling it today. Let's just keep moving." And there wouldn't be a client anymore. If you had a client, if you had another client that might be a proposal, you probably wouldn't decide halfway through the day that you'll send it next week because you're tired. That's that's just not doing yourself good. Somehow, when it comes to promises we make to ourselves, we become incredible negotiators. We're really good. We're top notch when it comes to that. So I mean, if you think about it, we we always compromise. We always negotiate ourselves with so many areas in our lives. I know I said I wake up early, but just 30 more minutes. That's one. That snooze button. Trust me, that snooze button gets a lot of negotiating time. It does. It really does. So that's one of the key things. We always say, hey, for those of you that are on health goals, I said, I did plan to work out, but let me start. So that's a negotiation right there. You know, if you're happen to be walking through a mall, walking through a store, and there's a sale sign, you're saying to yourself, I know I said I'd save money. Hey, Open thanks for stopping in. I know I said I'd save money, but one more purchase don't work. So little by little, we negotiate away our confidence. We negotiate away our consistency and our goals. So tonight, or excuse me, today, look at me. It's still sunlight out. I'm going tonight. No way. I want to talk about 8 places where we need to stop negotiating with ourselves. Okay. So let's jump in. As I said, any questions or comments, put them into the chat. I will get to them, but definitely as we flow through. So let's try. So the first place, stop negotiating with your commitments. Let me let that sink in. Yes, stop negotiating with your commitments. See, our future is built on promises that we keep to ourselves. So you have to start and think like this: that every day begins with a commitment. So every day we're starting with saying, "I'm going to do this. These are the steps I'm going to take." So from this time to this time, I'm going to do this. This is the list I'm going to complete. Done deal. Now, when you make those commitments, of course, you have good intentions. You are 100% positive that, listen, I'm going to make these. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to be complete. all those things. So you are sure that you're making it. So these are commitments that you have locked in either the night before, which is an ideal time to do it, or you've done it the day of. You've done it early that morning. So this is my list. This is what I'm committing to. Done deal. Now, those commitments, they begin to lose power when you make them optional. That's right. If something becomes an option versus a directive, then then it loses its power, it loses its impact. And so you've got to think about this and say, if this is an option, what does my word mean? And so what I'm getting to is this is that your word should matter. It should matter, especially to yourself. That's important. Every time you break a commitment and you break a promise to yourself, what it does is it weakens self trust. And so, since it's going to weaken that, you've got to say every kept promise really on the other side of the coin is that every kept promise that strengthens and builds up your confidence. So, you've got to think about okay, what am I doing? What am I saying? How am I keeping my word to myself? So you have to really draw a line in the sand and say, I'm going to stop changing the standard every time it gets uncomfortable. Because that's really when the change happens. When things become uncomfortable, when it loses the familiar, when you have that loss of the known, I like to say. Sometimes it's we know growth is uncomfortable. Our brains like familiar. That's where they camp out. That's where they would like to reside from every day of your life. Your brain is saying, "Hey, I like comfortable. I like my feet up. I like relaxing. I like binging. I like scrolling. I'm good." However, it doesn't happen like that. It's when you're uncomfortable. So it's those times of commitment, and commitment really is tested when it's inconvenient. It's it's not tested when it's easy. It's when it's difficult, when it's a challenge. Hey, Jonathan, when it's a challenge. So when it's inconvenient and when it's a challenge, that's where integrity comes into play because integrity begins privately. It doesn't begin out there posting and what have you and putting out to the public. It begins on the inside with yourself. It's you keeping the small commitments to yourself because those small commitments matter. It's you showing up for yourself. You've got to finish what you say you finish. So show up for yourself. And with that, you build a reputation. And it's not only, a lot of times when we think about building reputation, it's I got to build a reputation with this person, this organization, that organization. Actually, you're building a reputation with yourself. Because as you say what you are going to do and do what you said you're doing, you're building up self trust. You're building up confidence. You are increasing those that level to you. Your word is more now having an impact on your actions. So your confidence grows every time you follow through, every single time. So the bottom line for this is you want to stop making your goals negotiable. Decide once and then honor the decision. That's what you do. Decide once and then honor the decision. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for that. And so you got to ask yourself this: what commitments have you been negotiating lately? Yes. What commitments have you been negotiating? Thank you for the like. Thank you for the share. Appreciate it. Thank you. And your heart meets with you. And so, thank you. Welcome in. And so that's number one. So stop negotiating with your commitments. Okay. Number two. Now we have eight of these. So bear with me. These are very impactful, and this is going to really stick with you. Number two, stop negotiating with your alarm clock. I mentioned that earlier when I was talking about the topic here, is that when it comes to your goals, when it comes to that, you've got to think about all those things, think about all the steps that you take when it comes to you waking up in the morning. So that's that's a key area right there. That alarm clock, yes, and it deserves its own time because that's that's where it really starts. It starts there. So the alarm clock, and if you think about it, It's one of the first decisions of the day that often sets the tone for the rest of the day. An alarm goes off. Boom. Okay. So first the alarm sounds, and then it's more than just the sound. What that alarm signifies, it's the commitment that you made yesterday about today. So that's what that is. And so when you hit the snooze button, when you're hitting that, you're thinking, okay, the snooze is only 5 minutes, it's only 10 minutes. Snoozing, initially, it feels harmless. It feels like it's not having an impact. It's just going to be there. It feels like it's just, you're just going with the flow. That it's not really hurting anybody. It's just the snooze button. Everybody works with the snooze button, but the challenge is repeating the habit trains inconsistency. When you do that, when you're repeating that over, you're practicing, you're building that muscle. And as you build that muscle, that's going to impact your identity and it's going to continue to have to negotiate. So when in the morning, what that does, it helps to create momentum. And so you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. You don't have to be part of the 4 a.m. club, the 5, the 7 a.m. club, the pickleball club. When you stop negotiating with yourself, you say you don't need to be part of this. You just need consistency. So what do? You create a realistic schedule. And with that, you then are focusing on honoring that schedule. And I use honor a lot because before when we talked about step one, stop negotiating with your commitments, it's make a decision and decide. Oh, thank you so much thank you for that. Thank you, I appreciate that. Awesome. Oh wow, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Wonderful, thank you so much. So yes, create a realistic schedule and honor it. Don't negotiate every morning. Our goal is when it comes to your morning time, you want to build routines you can sustain, not something that's above and beyond and crazy. You've got to build the routines you can sustain. So, how do you look at your mornings? Think about this. Your mornings, they shape your mindset. They shape where you're going, how you're moving, and all the steps there. They also shape your productivity. So that's really where it's going and how it's been. So it's going to be really the commitment that you made yesterday and you sticking to that, you honoring that decision. So begin with that purpose. Let before when you decide and you push on. Thank you so much for that. Let discipline wake you up before your excuses do. So ask yourself that: does your morning routine move you closer to your goals? Excellent. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. So that's number two. Stop negotiating with your alarm clock. Make sure your mornings move you closer to your goals. All right. Uh, so number three, as you stop negotiating with yourself, the third thing you want to stop negotiating with is stop negotiating with your health. See, one of the things I've realized is that our bodies remember the choices that our mind tries to tries to forget, if you will. So if you look at your health, now health is built one decision at a time. Do you agree? Does that make sense? If you agree, put a one into the chat. Put a one into the chat. All right. So health is built one decision at a time. See, if you think about throughout your day, one meal isn't an issue. And so, and you're thinking about that. One meal isn't an issue. And then think about, can I skip a workout? Yes, you can. Thank you for the one. Yes. And when you think about that, you're like, oh, can I skip a meal? Yes. Can you skip a workout? Of course you can. Of course you can. Hey, Mr. T, thank you so much. Um, of course you can skip a meal. If you are repeatedly compromising on that meal, on your health, on those things, then that repeated compromise becomes part of your identity, becomes your lifestyle. So you've got to look at your body like it's an investment, like something that's compounding over the year. See, and you've got to say, okay, when I look at my body and I break it down and I say, this is, you break down areas, whether it's you're building muscle, whether you are healing from something, whether you want to be in a certain way. Those are the things. Those are the things you've got to look at and say every area of your life is an investment. Thank you for sharing that out. Thank you so much. And I was just thinking about you, Mr. Tate. So I was going to reach out to you. Um, See, energy affects your performance. So you've got to say, what are you doing with your energy? Are you keeping that on track? Is that something that's on point? So you've got to find out what matters when it comes to your health. First, rest. Rest matters. Yes. Rest. Thank you for the shares. I appreciate it. Grateful. Rest matters when it comes to your health. You've got to think about how much rest you're getting. Not sleep, your rest. The next thing you want to think about is nutrition. Does nutrition matter? Yes, your nutrition does matter. What are you importing? What are you depositing into your body? What are you taking in? What are the steps you're taking? How are you moving them? So nutrition matters. Movement matters. How often are you moving? Are you sitting stuff? Have you been sitting for hours upon hours? Which I have. Do you need to stand up, stretch, move your legs? All that happens. So this is about making progress versus perfection. Because that's what some people do. They're like waiting until it's the perfect time. They aim for perfection, saying, it's the right time. We're in a new season. Or it's a new month. It's the beginning. I'm gonna wait till Monday or it's Friday. I'm gonna take that. No, it's not about waiting for the right time. It's about aiming for consistency. And once you do that, you realize your future self will thank you because your health supports every other goal you have. Remember, your health is your wealth. And so you want to treat your health like it's priority. All right? It's making sense? All right. Okay, so this is good. Any questions, comments? Feel free, if this is making sense, put one into the chat. Excellent. Put one into the chat. Thank you all so much. So, thank you so much for the shares. I appreciate it. All right, let's continue on. So that was number 3. So the first thing we talked about today in our live was stop negotiating with commitments. Right? Remember, you want to make a decision and honor it. The second thing we talked about is stop negotiating with your alarm clock. That's the first decision that you make on the day, and that decision often sets the tone for your day. Okay. Now, the third thing we just talked about was stop negotiating with your health because your body is an investment. So you want to be sure that you are taking the time to impact it progressively, that you're not aiming for perfection, that you're aiming for progress, and that you're prioritizing your health. So, and ask yourself, what's one healthy habit you need to stop negotiating? So that's important. Okay. So now let's move on to number 4. And so, number 4, stop negotiating with your goals. Yes, stop negotiating with your goals. See, when it comes to your goals, we can think that our goals are there. These are what we want, what we're aiming for. We've sat and thought about it. And trust me, I've been there too. I've had some goals where I said, I want to be a musician. I want to travel. I want to do this. I want to do that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the harmony. And so, thank you, Laquan. Thank you. And so, when it comes to your goals, you've got to think about what do they require? Because goals, they don't disappear overnight. They basically, what happens with goals is they fade through, I'd say, through daily compromise. See, when it comes to your goals, and this is and this is something I focus on with my clients in Mastermind, is that the goals require your attention. They require your time and your focus. See, life will always compete with your attention. And I've said it before, attention is a currency. It's a thing there. It's one of those things where life comes in. It's going to have that. And distractions will come. There are things that are fighting for your attention because they know it's a currency. It's going to try and take you off track. So when your distractions come, those are times when your priorities, they can start to drift. They can get lost in the sauce, if you will. It's like that email. You have so much in your inbox that all these things, these people that are looking for your attention, they're like, come on, I'm the next shiny thing. Sign with me, book with me. Here's another course. Here's another webinar. It's important. So what you have to do is you have to protect what matters. So Protect what matters by reviewing your goals regularly, by going through each of them step and see, measure the progress. Keep them visible. The goals visible. So before, when I work with my clients, depending upon who you are, I write the goals down and post it, put it on a wall somewhere, put it on your phone, make it your wallpaper, put it on your screen if you have a tablet, if you have anything along those lines. And so that way, since it's visible, you'll stop negotiating with yourself and you'll begin to see that this is in front of me and this is, I'm reading it. And what happens is your brain begins to lock in so that these are the goals. This is what I'm aiming for. So your brain now is being trained to search for evidence for you to achieve these goals because they're now visible. They're now everywhere you go. They're on your bathroom mirror. They're on the alarm clock. They're on your they're in your car. They're playing all these things there because you're making them visible. That visibility is a key thing. It's not something. It's something that people rely on. So, hey, Tracy, thank you so much for stopping in. Exactly, Laquanda. You got a prayer board. Yes, do the same for your goals. Exactly. You write your goals down, type them out, have pictures of them, or pictures that represent them, cut them out so that it's visible. Good to see you. Hope everything is well with you, Ms. Tracy. So, yes, with your goals, you want to make them as visible as possible. Sometimes what you see, you focus on. And that's where, if you want to keep your eyes always on your goals, so that way you train your mind so that it is finding the evidence and it is canceling out anything that's a distraction. It's getting that tunnel vision. So that's an important part, is that when you make them visible, and I know I'm spending a lot of time here, but it's such a key thing that as whatever is visible, whatever you have your focus on, that's what you're going to manifest. That's what your mind looks out and gets evidence for. That as you're moving forward, that as you're seeing that, it's saying, okay, what's in my eyes? What's in my purview? What do I see? What's the square that I see? And so the square that you see, exactly. And this tunnel vision, exactly. So your goals give you that tunnel vision that you see so that you can accomplish that. And then when you have that, it's like a horse with blinders. The reason why a owner would put blinders on a horse is because they don't want to get distracted. So when if you've ever seen a horse race, where horses are going, they're coming out the chute, they're coming out the alley, coming. They have blinders. Why? So that they can focus on running their race. That's right. You focus on running your race. So they keep the line visible. All they see is the goal line. This is what they're aiming for. This is all they're doing, and they're putting all their effort into that. So it's the same way when it comes to your goals. You're keeping them visible. You're keeping them in sight, and it's like that intentional vision. Yeah, that intentional tunnel vision. That's how I say, and that's going to really help you and get you to where you need to go. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Tap it up. See if I can get to at least 10,000 likes. So that'd be great. Um, and so now, with your goals, you make them visible. You measure your progress. Remember, if it's not measured, it's not met. You've got to say, okay, what's my goal between now and next month? You've got to have some goalposts. So you've got to have these areas where you're saying, okay, I started here. Now, if your goal is a health goal, then you can say, okay, get on the scale, write it down, and say, what do I attempt to, how am I doing within the next one? If I have a certain amount of steps I want to walk, how many steps am I walking from here to there? How am I progressing over the days, over the weeks? You want to give yourself a good amount of time frame. Some people wait to 30 days or 3 weeks in order to do that, but you've got to measure your progress. You have to measure your progress. I'm so glad you need to hear this, because if it's not measured, then it's not met. So you've got to be sure that as you're putting those things down, you got to have that. It's got to be something you measure. And when things happen, you can look and say, okay, what happened this day that I did not meet my goal? So you've got to adjust your strategy. For me, for anybody that's following me, if you're following me, follow my profile, you'll see that every day, the last 2 months, I post my goals. I post how I'm doing. Now, yes, I'm an accountability coach. Dealt with private clients, masterminds, and things along those lines. So you're like, okay, well, he's an accountability coach. He's going to reach his goals. Ha, yes, there are days where I miss some goals. Like yes, I missed doing 8,000 steps. Um, I think I missed my morning journaling. I missed doing eating lemons, vegetables, drinking fruit juice. I believe, yeah, I missed that. So there are times where I miss my goals because not every day is equal. We can't treat every day and every hour as it's equal. So so I look back and say, what did I do? How can I adjust? How can I pivot and maneuver? And I realized that, ooh, my Thursdays are busy days. Those are days where I have a lot of attention. I have a lot of that. Hey, I have a lot of things going on. So I can't treat Thursday like I treat Tuesday. I can't treat Friday. Fridays are great. I can't treat that like it's a Monday, like it's a Wednesday, because every day isn't equal. So I've got to adjust my strategy for the day that I'm on. I can't negotiate and say, oh, well, you know what? I have 4 or 5 hours of training, so that's why I hit my goals. No, I got to be able to look and go, this is going to happen next week, or the following Thursday, or the following to Friday, the next Friday. How do I adjust my strategy? So it's not about abandoning your destination. It's about you staying connected to your why. And when you do that, you give yourself purpose and you understand that small steps count. You got to keep moving. Since to other people, um, progress looks ordinary, but the progress you're making is helping you become consistent and making sure that you stop negotiating with yourself and stop negotiating with your goals. Right? So we're good. All right, this is landing for you. Let me see. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat that this is landing because I'm getting some great comments here, which is great. That's right. Small steps count. That's right. Small steps do count. Okay. So this is good stuff. This is good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. Appreciate it. Okay. So good. Let's keep moving. All right. Who's in here? Thank you so much. Um, all right. Thank you. Thank you for the one. Thank you. Thank you. I see that. I see that. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving. So far we've covered some good areas here, and we've got four. Let's see where we are. We've got four more. Bear with me. We got four more. They're worth it. All right. So number one, we talked about stop negotiating with your commitments because that's really where it starts. Again, remember, integrity begins in privacy. Small commitments matter. Number two, we talked about. Thank you so much. We talked about stop negotiating with your alarm clock because the alarm is moving the sound. What it is, it's a commitment you made the night before about the next day. So number three was stop negotiating with your health. Remember, your body remembers, so we want to treat it as priority. Number four, we talked about stop negotiating. We just talked about stop negotiating with your goals because our goals require attention. They don't disappear. They fade through daily compromise. Okay, so now let's move on to number five. And this may be a tough one, so Buck, we got to stop negotiating with difficult conversations. I had to take a breath on that one. Stop negotiating with difficult conversations because, and I can relate to this. I've been in positions here that where challenge where you want to pull that. Yes, I know. Thank you. Yeah, stop negotiating because what I've learned and continue to learn is that a delayed conversation usually it becomes a harder conversation. So if you got to have a difficult conversation with somebody, be it a friend, family, whoever it is, um, many times we'll want to avoid that conversation. We'll do what we can. We'll find things to do. Oh, I got to send this text. Oh, I got to look this up. Oh, I've got to purchase it. I've got to do that. I've got to book this time. I've got to make sure this appointment happens. See, though, the challenge is though that avoidance it builds up intention. It's not good for the body. You understand these feelings that we have, the body remembers it. So that avoidance, it causes that tension. And then we assume things about how this person is going to react. And so that assumption can create confusion because now we're building our plan based on what we think this scenario. So the important thing to remember is that when it comes to those conversations, that healthy communication builds trust. So we want to speak with honesty. Now remember, when I say speak with honesty, yes. Yes, that's right. Avoidance creates tension. When I say speak with honesty, I don't mean brutal honesty. Some people like to take that way to the left. So, when I say speak with honesty, and when I say speak, understand this. Hey, man, is that when it comes to you having those conversations, remember, 90% of what you say is not coming out of your mouth. It's your tone. It's your body language. It's all those things that come into play. It's how you say there's a difference between oh you look good versus oh you look good. See, same words, different than. There you go. Exactly. It's how you say it. There you go, Trey. Switch yourself for the next 3 to 6. I'm working on means. Okay, there you go. We got you. There you go. Like I said, integrity that happens in the private. So there are times where you want to be mindful about even sharing that. So you want to stop negotiating with difficult and those difficult conversations. Those are even conversations you have with yourself. That's a conversation you want to have too as well. So when you have those conversations, whether it's with someone, speak with that honesty and speak with kindness. Don't let resentment take the time to grow because it does. It can set up camp. Says, this looks nice. This looks good here. It's like, don't you? This is where I'm situated. My table will go here. Let me call this. And let me put my couch here. The sectional goes here. My TV goes in there. No, don't let resentment grow. It's best if there's an issue that you have with somebody or something, best to address the issue early on. And when you're having the conversation, what you want to do is listen before you respond. Don't listen to respond. Listen before you respond. You see the difference? The difference in that preposition? Listen before you respond. And when you're having that conversation, one of the key things is you want to seek an understanding. Seek that ground where I'm saying, you know what, it's not about being convinced that I'm right. It's let me stand up. Let me not be in this position where someone's got to talk me out of there. You've got to speak, you've got to listen with responding and seek understanding. All right. And when you're doing these things, know this is that it does take courage, and it's the courage that strengthens these relationships. See, and what we think about when we are having and thinking about these difficult conversations, we want to like, well, let me avoid it. Let me have these assumptions. The one thing that we may not consider is that silence really can cost you more than honesty. There's a price for not saying something. You know, And so we know that we have to have these difficult conversations, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. You can't grow on. You can't go on. This is part of your growth. This is part of your progress. This is how you build confidence. And so as you're growing, your growth does require that communication. And so really when it comes to your goals, you're a leader. Whether you have a company, you have a business, you are a leader, and leaders can't and don't avoid conversations. What they do is they prepare for them. They take their time, they set themselves up, they get in the mindset so that they can have the right words, that they have the right tone, that there's no yelling, screaming, that they're on an even pace. And they and then they have them. Trust me, there was a time where I was I served in a leadership position and people really reported up to me. And I remember that there were many times I had to have difficult conversations. And so what I made sure was I made sure that I structured the conversation. Now, this may apply to you, this may not, but for me, if I was changing a process that somebody did something that they've been through, that they're married to for years, for last years or so, I was focused on saying that the process was good up until now. It needs to be changed. And I focus on the person, focused on the process. So when you're having those difficult relationships, those difficult conversations, you focus on the thing, not at the detriment of the relationship. Right? So hope that lands for you. And the question, the going away question for this is asking yourself, what difficult conversation have you been putting? Yeah, I'm pausing for a moment so that we can get a breath in because that's a lot. It takes some time to process because there are conversations we avoid. So that's number five. Stop negotiating with difficult conversations. All right, let's move on. We're progressing. Man, time's flying. Number six. Number six. And if this is landing for you, thank you so much. But definitely put a comment in the chat. Yes, put a yes in the chat. This is landing for you. Or anything that hit home that landed, let me know. Just say yes. Um, Number six, and when we stop negotiating with yourself. Number six. There we go. There's the yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. And so next, let's go. Number six. What's the sixth area we want to stop negotiating with yourself with? Stop negotiating with your boundaries. That's a question right there. See, one, Tracy. So the question is, why is someone afraid to change for the better? Is that when it comes to change, the way our minds are structured is this: our minds like being comfortable. They like where we're at now, where we're comfortable, we're sitting, we're not moving. We've bought the place, we've gotten comfortable, we've got some decorations, we've lived here for a while. The mind does not like change. Anything that pulls it out of the comfort zone is going to evoke an emotion. Yes, the mind loves complacency. It absolutely does that. That's what your brain wants. Your brain, and this is from back in the day. This is from years ago. All the studies. Your brain loves complacency. So anytime that there's a thought about change or there's movement to a change, your brain's like, boom. All of a sudden, it hits that. You've ever been in the movies where you see the red button and it's emergency. Mm, 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 the klaxon starts going off. That's what the brain does. It's like, oh, there's that change. Hold on, we're about to be moved out of our place. What's going on? Do we pay rent? We pay the mortgage? Are we being evicted? What's going on? So the brain immediately throws up signs like, no, we're here, we're comfortable here. So it's not the person, it's really the brain. So now what we're doing with this, when stop negotiating, we're now retraining the brain a step at a time. What I do with my private clients and mastermind is that I make sure that we're doing it. Whatever you have to change, you start with a sliver. Break it down, slice it up. Like if someone brought you a cake or brought you a pie, anything, or you had a massive pizza's big as this room, big as your room. You wouldn't eat the whole thing at once. You would take a slice and move forward. Take a slice, have a bite. Take a slice, have a bite. That's what you got to do. Is you got to take a slice, right? And that's right. So because we move, but the good thing is we're moving. That's right. You move in a straight line. Anytime there's a curve, we have to slow down and wonder what's next. So the good thing is that you're moving. You're not stuck. Many times we can get stuck in our position trying to think, where do we go next? But you can't course correct a parked car. You need to be in action in order to be able to pivot. Many people too, you think that when people miss a goal, if you are aiming for something, you fall down and like, oh man, I missed it. Well, the only way you can fall is if you were standing in first place. Think about that. So how do you do? You get back up, get some help. You ask for assistance. You get some, vulnerability is okay. Yes. Thank you, thank you. Yes, and so this here, this is the thing. Um, for our number six, yes. So this lines up here is that when it comes to learning how to stop negotiating with yourself, before you want to stop negotiating with your boundaries. See, every time you say yes to the wrong thing, we're actually saying no to something important. So, what do boundaries do? Boundaries protect your priorities. Whatever is key, whatever's priority now. Remember, if you're not sure what your priorities is, stop right there. Define what's priority to you, not to what anybody else says it should be, not to what anyone else is directing. What are your priorities? What's key? So boundaries, what they do is they protect your priorities. All right. The next thing boundaries do is they protect your peace. So that's right. It's about your peace. It's about um, your the time where you can inhale, exhale. So boundaries protect your peace. They also protect your energy. They make sure that you're not depositing your energy into someone else or into something that that's not going to move the needle, have an impact, move you forward. Because people will ask you things. You'll get DMs, you'll get messages, you'll get text, you'll get a phone call, and everything. And so someone may ask, "Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what steps are you taking? What project are you working on?" Now, understand yourself. When you decide to say no, when you set boundaries and you say no to something, you don't have to explain your no to everyone. You don't have to explain every single no. You just know, not able to do that. I've got something here. I've got something to do. There's a project that I'm working on. What's your project? Well, it's something that I'm working on right now. I'm not going to say anything until I feel comfortable right now, but I won't be able to do it. Period. Gotta go. It's really not every opportunity is your assignment. Mr. T, that's where you are now. Yes, you can't explain your no. You've got to protect your energy, your peace, your priorities, those things. You know, you call it the PEP, priorities, energy, peace. Or however, so what boundaries do you want to set? One, let's protect your calendar. That's right. No one should be able to just get on your calendar anytime, any place. Not impossible. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you are keen, that you are protecting that time because when it comes to your goals, it's so key. Did I? I'm glad I was able to do that. Glad I was able to give you confirmation. Yes, you've got to protect your calendar. No one should just be able to hop on it whenever they feel like it. You've got to protect your time, protect your calendar. What's next to protect? So the next thing you want to protect your attention. All these platforms are out there for a reason. Mhm. Got it, Mr. T. That's good. There you go. Stick with that. There's people that will try to intrude because when it comes to your attention in this digital age that we're in, attention equals currency. We can get your attention for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That is valuable. That is valuable. That's those your eyes are on there. So you've got to be sure you're protecting your attention. Protect your family time. If you have set this time for you to go out, movie night, game night, or doesn't even have to plan. You might be like, oh, you know what, let's go to the show. Or let's stay in, let's watch this. Let's have this discussion. Let's play this game. Let's break the cards out. Whatever it may be, protect your family time because that's what's that's what's overarching. And then you've got to protect your rest. You've got to be sure that you are resting. And rest includes sleep. Rest may include just sitting there like so that you can process what's happened and you can decompress. That's a kind of thing. That's right. No drama, just peace. Exactly. So you've got to basically respect your own limits. So this is what you do. You want to make sure that you stop overcommitting and you stop people pleasing. That's how you stop negotiating with yourself. So you stop negotiating with your boundaries by canceling overcommitting, done deal. People pleasing, that's a wrap. So you're basically what you're doing is you want to make sure your decisions are based on your purpose and that your boundaries are there so that they can create life. It's not being selfish. This is you operating in wisdom. So those healthy boundaries for your healthy life. So ask yourself, where do you need to create stronger boundaries? Okay. All right, let's go. All right, is this good? It's like it's good. I'm getting a lot of comments here. Thank you all so much for this. Let's keep it going. Number 7, we're almost done. We're almost done here. Number 7, the seventh area, you want to stop negotiating with yourself. All right. When it comes to your life, when it comes to your process, stop negotiating with your growth. Right. And we talked about that. So I've been kind of peeking in on that and talking about this. So, stop negotiating. Comfort, it keeps us safe, but what happens is growth moves you forward. Now, when it comes to your growth, this is you stretching outside of your comfort zone. That's what you're going for. That's what growth requires. Growth requires you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Growth requires you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you've got to learn. Learning, it requires humility. And so that's when you're humble. That's when you've got to say, okay, if I'm going to grow, if I'm going to improve, I need to be okay with repetition. So what do I need to do? Read the book. Well, the book is intimidating. That's a big chapter. Break down the book. Okay, let's read 5 pages a day for 7 days. Okay, read 5 pages a day. All right, next 7 days, I'm going to read 8 pages a day. Keep on going. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, I was able to do that for 7 days. I'm going to read 10 pages a day. I'm going to read, you break it down. So read the book. Now, there may be a course that you've purchased, haven't made a move on. Break it down. You complete the module. Let me start with one module. Oh, the modules are 53 minutes. Oh, man, how do I break that down? You know what? If I do half of the module in the morning and half in the evening, okay, well, cool. So you take that course. That's part of your growth. Hire the coach. Man, let me hire the coach. You could say, well, you know what? Let me take part of the mastermind. Let me take part of his mastermind. Why not? Or let me invest in myself. Let me invest in myself and get a private coach. I know it's I know this is going to be it. Let me get in this plan. Let me do what I can because I need this. And I know that in order to make my next step, I need to hire this. I need to hire this coach. All right. So get that. Practice the skill. Keep refining. You keep thinking. What you do is when you stop negotiating with your growth, you continue to do that. You read the chapter. You read the book. You don't settle. What you're doing, it's a mindset where you keep learning, keep refining. See, the things that you do is where you end the negotiations. You get in the mindset where you stay curious, you stay teachable, you stay coachable. You invest in yourself. You say, let me go ahead and get this coach. Let me go ahead and sign for. Let me go ahead and get the accountability that I need to make sure that whatever I signed up for gets completed, gets done. So ask yourself, what's one area that you become too comfortable in? That's easy. That's a piece of cake. Okay. All right. Wrapping it up. Number 8. And for some reason. Okay. All right. Had to do something there. All right. So number 8, for those of you that are interested, because I've been mentioning it, if you're interested in my mastermind or being a private client, message me and I'll give you information about that. If you're interested in getting a copy of my book, my new book, The Ways of Life, Volume 2, The Gates of Growth, message me, and I'll let you know about that. So now we're at number 8. Final. Thank you so much for staying on. So here we go. Number 8. The 8th area you want to stop negotiating with yourself is Stop negotiating with your future. Yes, stop negotiating with your future. See, every decision that we make today, that's introducing you to your future. So, one of the things I've always said, and I had to come to terms with, is that I look on the calendar. I can pull up a calendar, and I look at the days of the week. Yes, I sent it out. Yep, and I'm working on getting into the shop. So, yep, there. But I'll message you on that one. Um, when I look at the calendar, I see the days of the week, and a single day is called Sunday. All of them have assignments. All those days have assignments. Every day is numbered. And so the my future and your future isn't creating someday, it's created today. What creates your future? Habits, choices, conversations, investments. All those things help build your future. So you've got to think long term and say, what am I doing? What habit am I building? What am I replacing? What choice am I making? Am I going to take this time and binge, or am I going to just move forward? Am I going to um, invest in myself? Am I going to complete this course or read this book? See, you want to think about this. You don't want to trade tomorrow for what we call temporary comfort. So you've got to make decisions that your future self will appreciate. How do you spend your time? So you've got to say, I'm going to build instead of drift. I'm going to build something instead of just drift along. That you're going to lead instead of reacting. So what you want to do is make sure when it comes to your goals, you stay intentional, stay accountable, stay faithful to the vision that you have for yourself. Because what happens is as you're having these small wins, those small wins build up. Success, it compounds over time. So you got to keep becoming the person that your future requires. So those are the 8 areas. Um, when I wrote my second book, one theme that kept coming back again was that growth requires intentional decisions. It's the intentional decision taking. You don't accidentally become the person you're meant to become. You become that person by making the choices for your purpose and by aligning your actions with your purpose, especially when it's inconvenient. That's key. So, if today's conversation challenged you, if you enjoyed it, imagine what happens when you have to do this alone. This can be difficult. So that's why I created my weekly mastermind. Every Thursday, we go beyond the motivation and the information, and we focus on implementation. And this is a private pay community where we build accountability, leadership, we build mindset and execution together. Anybody that's in my mastermind, um, you get a copy of the recording, you get every worksheet, every resource we use. If you want to find out more about that, just send me a message, DM me, and I'll connect you with a free session, and we'll talk more about that. All right. So, man, we've made it through the 8 places, and let me recap. Let me recap for you. Um, the 8 things we talked about in regards to stop negotiating with yourself, stop negotiating with your commitments was number 1. Number 2, stop negotiating with your alarm clock. I know that snooze button feels harmless, but it builds the muscle of inconsistency. Number three, stop negotiating with your health. So that's an important thing. Stop negotiating with your health. Number 4, stop negotiating with your goals. Remember, your goals don't disappear, but they can fade when you compromise on a regular basis. Keep them visible. Number 5, stop negotiating with difficult conversations. You've got to have them. Make sure that they're. Number 6, stop negotiating with boundaries. Now, the difficult conversation, remember that avoidance creates tension. It's better to have that conversation early on because silence can cost you more than honesty. Number 6, let's stop negotiating with your boundaries. Remember, your boundaries protect your priorities, your peace, and your energy. So you've got to be sure that you're protecting your calendar, protecting your family time, your rest. Number 7, stop negotiating with your growth. Go ahead, stay curious, stay teachable, stay coachable. And number 8 was stop negotiating with your future. You've got every choice, every decision you make, all of that matters. So I'm gonna leave you with this: that every time you negotiate with the commitments you made yesterday, you teach yourself that your word is optional. So, but when you honor your commitments, you build trust, you build discipline, you build confidence. So stop negotiating, keep your word, and honor your future. Right? Because really, when it comes to success, you build your success by deciding which promises matter. So I leave you with that. All right. So I want to thank you all. You made it. It's Friday. Six. You made it through the live. Remember, I won't be going live. Um, not the weekend. The next time I'll be live will be Monday, and I'll probably be going live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The rest of the week will not. So, FYI, be sure that you're following my profile so you get a notification when I go live. So, but it's good. Hope everything was well. Everything is good. All right. Just wanted to make sure. I want to appreciate you all for coming in. Appreciate you sharing out the likes, the comments, all those things. Those things are very helpful. We had a great discussion today. And so I'll be sure to let you all know. Um, I've been putting out notifications that you all want to go live. Thank you. Thank you. You as well. Have a good rest of your day. And so be sure you're following. And thank you all so much for the time, for all you've been doing. And have an excellent weekend. I will see you. I'll see you on Monday. And as I said, if you're interested in my book, Mastermind, Private Client, any of those things, just message me and I will get back to you. All right. God bless you as well. Thank you all so much. I'll see you all in the next one. Be blessed.